was so big. Go away. Welcome to the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room podcast. We are here to podcast about anything and everything Star Wars with you. Please visit our website where you can play current and past episodes. That's https://RABR.KyleJohansson.us. That's RABR.KyleJohansen.us. On the left-hand side is a navigation menu. You can use this to learn how to load the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room podcast on your Android or Apple phone and tablet. And we have direct links to our podcast on Apple and Google Podcasts. Please participate by connecting to our social media, answering questions of the week, or submitting feedback directly from the site. Again, all of these are available at the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room website at RABR.KyleJohansen.us. And now, it's time to talk Star Wars. I am Kyle John Johansson, and this is Andrew Scott Sutton. Say hello. Hello. All right, so today we're going to be reviewing Chapter 7, the finale for Book of Boba Fett, called In the Name of Honor. We don't have any feedback or anything, but there's plenty of news and there's a lot to talk about. So
I thought there would be because of everything I've seen on YouTube and stuff. But
well, I mean, part of it is because we don't have a huge following, but
of people going, "Oh, I waited for that."
there was a lot of that weird chatter.
Oh my God, like me, there was a lot in there.
Yeah. This episode was jam packed, with all kinds of fun stuff. So, let's talk about some news first, and then we'll get into the episode because I know we got a lot to talk about. So it's time for the news. So I sent you several articles. One of them is talking about Mark Hamill not actually being present for the Skywalker stuff in the previous episode that we saw, Chapter 6. He wasn't there. They didn't even use his voice. It was all generated. So they have an actor that looks similar, and they kind of did the deep fake thing to manipulate his face and stuff. But they also used digital recordings of his voice, so they didn't even have to have him there at all, which is a huge deal. I mean, that can change the way movies are made, going forward. Not just Star Wars, but any movie.
That also kind of reminds me of the sadness of what they do now for dead musicians or stuff like that, like the Whitney Houston hologram or the Michael Jackson hologram, which is just sad. No way I'd pay that. What they asked to go see those. No way.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, those are really expensive because, it takes a lot of money to make that happen. But it seems like, they've got this sort of somewhat
show.
Seems like it's somewhat affordable now. I don't know if it's just the way they're doing it now or what, but it did look really good. And obviously we can't have a young Luke Skywalker because he's not young anymore, right? He doesn't even look the same. If he were to shave and stuff, he just still doesn't look the same.
No.
But yeah, this is amazing. It's I think the first time we saw something similar to this was in the movies, right? When Carrie Fisher died, right?
Yeah.
They had some footage already, but some of that footage was digital footage. She wasn't really there. Not a lot.
Also, you don't know You know, you really don't know if those scenes were already done or not.
Yeah,
You
some of them
know,
were. There was quite a few of them that were already done, and maybe they took some footage and manipulated it so it looked like she was doing
yeah,
something different or
some of
whatever.
that was they call deep fake, I guess. So I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. You know,
Yeah, there's some bigger articles when they first did it. On the Mandalorian, I think it was when they had the surprise scene at the end of the last season of Mandalorian. There
yeah.
was a huge article about it and how they did it and what they hired some guy who seems to be an expert in deepfakes and had him create what they had, show him how to
I
do it.
mean, are we just seeing it in the like last 10 years or something?
Yeah,
But it's been being used. It had to be from military or spy stuff.
it could be.
Don't you think?
It could be. I don't know. I think some of that deepfake origins was from hackers and stuff trying to
That's true. That's true.
manipulate what people see. Um, yeah, and it's just interesting, and I thought it was worth talking about for a little bit. The next one is talking about our next show that's coming up soon. Well, actually, I think um, the Bad Batch starts before, but Obi-Wan
Yeah.
Kenobi, they announced the person who's going to play the Grand Inquisitor in the Obi-Wan Kenobi movie. Um, I'm trying to find his name here in the article.
It's the
There it is.
guy.
Rupert
It's the
Rupert
guy
Friend.
that was. Yeah. It's the guy that was in the assassin movies.
Yeah, and apparently he
Number 32 or whatever.
Jason Isaacs is the one who voiced the guy in the animated series, the Rebels. Jason Isaacs
Mhm.
actually was the voice, which he did a lot of different character voices. But yeah, it's the Grand Inquisitor is a big character to bring into Obi-Wan. Because I mean, I guess you know uh, we've seen some stuff in the cartoons, or not the cartoons, the animated series is that after the Order 66,
Yeah.
these Inquisitors were sent out to get rid of the rest of the Jedi that were lingering around, and some of them were ordered by Palpatine, but most of them were Darth Vader was in charge of them.
Yeah.
And that's how we see in the animated series where Darth Vader shows up every once in a while when a Inquisitor is found somebody. So anyway, that's a big deal, and it just brings
Yeah.
part of the excitement.
That adds a lot. Of what ifs. Where's it going to go?
Mhm.
You know, thing I saw was with Obi-Wan is they're just going to build and build and build and build, and probably the last episode of the season or whatever, however they're going to do it, is going to be the final battle between him and Darth Vader.
Yeah, and in the movie it was really short, right? They were fighting for a
Yeah,
little bit.
yeah.
Um,
It's supposed to be long, drawn out.
yeah, and then they came out in the
Final
open
fight.
there where everybody saw him, and Obi-Wan Kenobi saw that everybody else was
Luke
about
was
ready to get
watching,
away.
and Luke was watching, and he thought his time.
Yeah, and that kind of brings us to the next story, which is they announced the actual date when Obi-Wan Kenobi is going to be released, which is May 25th. Obviously, this year, 2022. And like you said, there's Hayden Christensen's going to be in there as Darth Vader. There might be some scenes in there where he's not Darth Vader yet. I think we're probably going to see a lot of flashbacks kind of things going on in there. When we see Hayden Christensen.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of people cast here, and I think, technically,
Do you think they'll actually? Do you think they'll actually do the final fight between
I don't know. I mean,
before
I,
before he became Darth Vader between
I
Obi-Wan and
I don't
Anakin?
know. That was played out pretty big in the movies, and I don't know if they, you know, I don't know if they'd like replay it or something as a flashback kind of thing. They might show scenes of it. What happened to Kenobi after, because we see him kind of leave in the movie, right? But we don't know what
Yeah,
happens after that. And we
he
see Palpatine come and
turns his back on him because he thinks he's dead.
yeah, and we see Palpatine come down later. He lands on the on the planet and comes and gets him.
Yeah.
Because he can sense it with the Force. Anyway, yeah, I think we'll see that, and strangely enough, Ahsoka hadn't been thought of during the original movies and the prequels too.
Right.
The Revenge of the Sith. So I think we'll probably see some of Ahsoka to kind of tie her in with stuff. Because they kind of they separated. After the purge and stuff, they separated because Kenobi, went into exile, right?
Yeah.
So they may meet up. I would say, since we seem to know that Tatooine is the center of everything Star Wars for some reason. At least that's what they think online. But I think she'll visit him a couple times too. Yeah, there's a lot of complaints out there about why are we still on this stupid planet. We got to visit plenty of planets during the Mandalorian. I think we should
Yeah.
at least 3 or 4.
But
So that's
all
the
good directors or writers use stuff from other things. I read like 3 or 4 articles about how George Lucas meant to draw from Dune.
Yep, he did. He did. It was an inspiration of a lot of the stuff he did.
That's it. The son of the writer of Dune has written 2 more books.
Yeah, he has. I saw that too.
So
I think he's getting ready to come out with another one.
Yeah, so there's 9 or 10 now.
Yes.
I've read the 7, but I haven't read the new 2.
Yeah, I think when I was younger, I tried to read them, and I mean they were so, I don't know, dense, I guess is the word to say, that I just
probably
couldn't
so much detail you were brain overload.
I think I was maybe like 10 years old when I first tried to read them. I was like, oh, I can't be. Yeah, this is not gonna.
That's a hard read at 10.
It was. Yeah, it was. So I'd never read them after that. I've read some short stories and stuff around them, but I've never actually read the whole movie. All right, well that wraps up the news.
The news.
Yeah. And
We are proud to welcome our latest sponsor, Juan's Cantina, where every first week of the month on the standard galactic calendar we celebrate what the ancients call Cinco de Mayo. Come join us at Juan's for the food, mariachi music, and 34 flavors of margaritas. That's Juan's Cantina right next to the Hangar 94 of Mos Eisley Spaceport. On day 2 of the week is Taco Tuesday. All tacos are half a credit each and enjoyed with our house margaritas. Juan's Cantina also serves the galactically famous Dos Camarones Azul Cerveza, imported directly from Kessel. Thank you again for our latest sponsor, Juan's Cantina.
yeah, Juan's. I don't know if I've ever talked about it on here, but that hangar 94 at Mos Eisley
Yeah.
Spaceport. That's the same hangar that the Millennium Falcon was in the when Luke and Obi-Wan Kenobi were renting a charter to get off the planet. So yeah, and they've got that blue shrimp beer. That's what Dos Camarones is about. Anyway, so one more thing. I'm gonna just play the spoiler alert, and then we can get deep into this episode.
Spoiler alert. Danger. You are about to be spoiled. This is your spoiler alert. We're about to talk candidly and explicitly about some TV shows or movies. If you have not watched them, please fast forward to the appropriate section. You will not be warned again because you will be spoiled.
All right, that's it. Okay, so let's get into this. So, anything you want to say before we get started?
Like what?
Like, wow, this was such a great episode.
It was an interesting episode.
I don't know if it was the best out of the whole series, but it was. If it wasn't, it was pretty darn close, right? It was so packed with action and everything.
I still say that it was when Mando came back.
Yeah.
Or was that 6?
I think
5.
No, it was 5 and 6 is when Grogu was.
Yeah. Okay.
I think. All right. So the first scene is, they call it Calm Before the Storm. This is where we open at the sanctuary, the cantina that was bombed in the last season, and bombed out remains, and then Finnick and Fettâ are there, and they're soon joined by Mando and the mod people. And Din tells them that he's talking to the marshal of Freetown. They keep calling it what the other name is, Mos Espa. Yeah, they keep calling it. And they're like, no, it's Freetown now. So he tells them that they're gonna come and help out.
Yeah, they don't know the marshal's been shot.
Yeah, they don't know that yet, and they originally Fett says that he wants to hold out at the palace and use the palace as their headquarters, and everyone else convinces him to stay in town at the sanctuary cantina.
Yeah, the mod people say, no, this is our home, this is our family.
Yeah, we don't want to retreat away from the town and hide. And then we see where Cad Bane arrives at Mos Eisley and reports to the Pike Syndicate that he has talked to the mayor of, or he's talked to the people of Freetown, and they're talking to the mayor and all that. And we have heard in previous episodes the mayor is off planet, but apparently he's not. He's right there.
Well, he's right there.
Yeah, he's right there in hiding and planning along with everything. And apparently the plan is to get rid of Fett and everybody so that the mayor can take back over.
Under the watchful eye of the Pikes.
Of course, yeah. That Mayor Mokshaiza. I think that's the only way to pronounce that. And this is where we find out that the Pikes actually killed the tribe instead of the bikers. The Pike leader admits that they took care of it and framed the Kintan biker gang, so that Fett would think that that's who did it all, so that he would take care of their other the other group that was asking for money, basically. So they took care of two birds with one stone, basically. The tribe, and then Fett took out the bikers. And then we see a X-wing with a red decal approach Mos Espa, and it begins to land in Pelimato's hangar.
Mhm.
She is assuming that it's some sort of a Republic officer, and instructs the droids to hide various things, so they don't find out what it is. And she's greeted by R2D2's up in the astromech area. She sees him, and then she looks in the cockpit, and there's Grogu. And Grogu's by himself because she climbs up there and looks all the way in, and he's the only one he's the only one there.
Hey, bright eyes.
Bright eyes. We're gonna have so much fun, and you can see, while Grogu's doing whatever, you can see the chainmail underneath his outfit.
Well, she was holding him, and she goes, "What is that?" And she shows so
Yeah.
we know who he chose.
we assume we know who he chose. I think we're gonna find something else out different. I think, I'm still hoping that he chose the lightsaber, and he doesn't get the lightsaber until he's gone through some training or whatever. And Luke went ahead and gave him the chainmail and said, if you need to go be with Mando for a while, that's fine, but you have to come back. Kind of like what Luke did, right? Luke went and trained for a little bit and left.
Stop! You're stepping on my brain.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that. That's why I've been always thinking that's what's going to happen, but who knows?
It's possible, but I'm still messed up with the timeline because
we're at least 5 years after Return of the Jedi.
So Luke built the school, but didn't he destroy the school too?
No, not exactly. But that happened later. That happens like 20 some years later. That's Kylo Ren. When Luke goes to confront Kylo Ren while he's sleeping, Kylo Ren gets mad and destroys the school and everything because he's like, "Oh, my master's going against me, so I'm going to tear everything up."
My whole thing is that maybe he knew Grogu knew and didn't want to be a part of it or something like that. Or,
maybe with a vision or something.
Grogu. Yeah, we don't need Grogu to end up like that. But
right.
You never know. He can go back and get his training faster than, since he's so.
Yeah. I mean, he could.
So, but I follow you, and I can see that a possibility.
Yeah, well, we'll see. It could be, he chose to not, which is fine.
Just like he was impatient with Yoda.
Yep, exactly. And he's still trying to learn what he had learned before. He's trying to remember it. We see him when he's training that he gets tired easy. It seems like.
Yeah.
The using the Force or whatever drains him pretty easily, which.
So did Yoda. Yoda always needed to rest after, like he lifted the X-wing and was full. So
after that, we have a little scene there with Peli and Grogu and
Did we
stuff.
ever- Did we ever see R2 fly off?
No, we don't.
I don't think
We don't. But we assume he did because it's R2's Uber service, so we assume he went back.
did.
But we never saw it, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
he could still
Grogu-
be there.
Yeah, because Grogu couldn't, do that.
Yeah, he doesn't know
Grogu
how to
couldn't
fly.
do manual because he was too small.
And if he was better with the Force, maybe he could. But
Yeah, but I'll
uh,
take it R2.
yeah. All right, so we're back. We switch back to the sanctuary again, and Shan, Fett, and the Mandalorian are in position, keeping an eye out for the Syndicate. 2 guards are at the starport. The Christian, Black Wookiee is at the city hall. The mods are in the workers' district, and one of the droids reports that someone has arrived to meet with Fett. And he's surprised because, nobody should know they're there at the sanctuary. It ends up, Cad Bane is there to negotiate on behalf of the Syndicate. And we see a scene with him briefly, and Fett basically says, "Hey, I'm not going to negotiate." After some deliberation, he says that. I'm not going to negotiate. The mods convince him that, this is for the people and all that kind of stuff. And he says that Cad Bane tells him that the marshal won't be there because he shot him. And Fett then says that he wants to negotiate directly with the head of the Syndicate. And Bane also reveals to him that the Pike Syndicate killed the Tusken tribe and not the speeder bikers. And that's, we see a little tiny scene where Fett is kind of fighting the urge to kill Bane right there.
Moved his hand tighter on the weapon.
Yeah, he picked up the weapon at a defensive stance instead of just a carrying stance, and we see him release the weapon and just hold it. Once he's gone, one of the mods calls out over the radio that something's not right. The people seem to be cornering them somewhere in an alley, it looks like.
You could see that happening as they went through the different people that were in the areas, like where they parked their bikes, those things or animals or whatever, they were carrying boxes, and it's like the boxes probably had weapons in them, and they were watching the bikers. They were watching the black.
As soon as I saw it,
Black Wookiees and stuff like that.
Yeah, we see the Transdosians, kind of watching the Wookiee, and there's another tribe that's watching the Gamorreans. And we see them. We flash between the 3 groups there: the mods, the Kuristan, and the Gamorreans, and they all get attacked, right? The mods are trying to fight them off, but they're not doing a very good job. We see the Wookiee, he gets beat up pretty good. For a minute there, I thought he was going to die. But we do see the Gamorreans actually die. The crowd pushes them off the cliff, and they fall down.
That is a movie straight from a Charles Bronson movie.
Yeah.
Per scene, that is straight from the Charles Bronson movie. I think it's the name of it. because there was like what, 5, 6 guys waiting on him to get off the train or something like that. So yeah.
Yeah. And it was, yeah. So that's, just to be clear here, you'll find out, you know, later in the episode that pretty much the Gamorreans are the only ones out of our group that dies.
Yeah.
Everyone else happily ever after. Yay. So right after that, Fett's like, hey, what's going on? All of our groups are being attacked. He talks to the Major Domo and gets the Major Domo to tell him where the syndicate's hold up at. And it's in the Desert Survey Office where the Kuristan Wookiee is. Let's see, and Fett goes down and sends Shan to go do that. And on her way, she helps the mods out a little bit to take out the family that had pinned him down. And we start to see the syndicate move in on the sanctuary where Fett and Mando are at. And Mando refuses to leave. This is when he tells him that he's in it for the long haul.
This is the way.
It's his creed. Yeah, this is the way. And Fett does the same based on.
And Bobo goes, "Are you sure?"
Sure. Are you sure? Yeah, and Fett kind of, promises the same thing to him. And we see the Major Domo. He volunteers to go out and talk to the Pikes to negotiate.
He irritates me.
Yeah, he irritates me too.
But
and
everybody on the internet says, "Oh, that's comic relief." I'm like going,
kind of a little bit.
Okay.
He is.
Just
But
irritating.
for me, I thought as soon as he went out there, he was going to get shot.
Yeah, I thought, oh, this is a way to get rid of him. And the actual Book of Boba Fett, that's what they're calling that thing that he was holding, because he was Boba wrote on it.
Right.
He wrote that little. It's actually poetry if you follow it. What he wrote was poetry.
A little bit, yeah.
What the Domo said. What the Domo added to it was poetry from somewhere.
Yeah.
And the thing he was holding was like a 1970s, 1980s bowling game.
Yeah, I saw that too. Electronic bowling game. Looked just like the bowling game. It was, the buttons at the bottom were different, but I mean that you can do buttons with anything. So
yeah,
but it was exactly like it. Yeah, and like you said, when the Major Domo reads it out, he's kind of surprised because Fett basically says he doesn't want to negotiate.
He actually looked back and pointed back to Bobo when he said, "It's not my word. These are Bobo."
Yeah, and we see the Pikes about ready to kill him, and Fett and Djarin soar up on their jetpacks and start to attack the syndicate people.
That was cool because as the fight goes on and on, they're using every weapon they have. The knee missiles, the whistlers.
Yeah, the knee missiles. He uses one of his missiles off of his back. Fett does.
Well, he does that later when the Pikes start to run away because they know the big version of the attack droids, which would show up.
Right, and the next scene is continuation of what we're in right now, where they're fighting, and the next scene is just the big battle. We've got
Yeah.
like you said, all the weapons and all the stuff that they use. They use blasters, and so on and so on. And just as we start to see that the syndicate is getting close to wearing them down, we see a big ship come in, or a floating kind of speeder ship that's kind of an armor type of tank looking thing that's run by the Freetown people.
Yeah, the
They
blockade.
Yeah, they come in and go in and then get in front of Fett and them to give them some sort of protection, basically. And they attack, and we also see them fighting a little bit more. They talk about that the marshal was shot and is not going to be there. So they finally have confirmation that the marshal has been hurt really bad, or dead, or whatever.
Yeah.
And the battle goes on again. Like I said, the bartender that we saw at Freetown is there, and all the other people in the town, and we get reinforcements again from the mods. The mods finally get themselves clear and come back and help enforce. And then we also see Kuristan show up, and they all kind of drive the Pikes back. Finally, getting the tide, and it gets really quiet, because the Pikes go back and they're like, "Oh, okay, we won, yay!" And then all of a sudden they start hearing some pounding noises, and we see these they call them Scorpionic Droids, which are the droids that have the shields. So they get in there and power up.
Big version of the attack droids that were in
the Clone Wars and stuff. Yeah, Clone Wars and all that stuff. They are a big version. They're like maybe 10 times as big. They're huge.
They've never been in a movie or a animated series before. They've been in the comic books.
Yeah, not that size, at least in the animated or the movies. They weren't that size. These were big.
Big.
And this is where Fett shoots one of his missiles, and it doesn't even go through the shield, and he's like, "Oh crap,"
I just wonder. I just wonder if they would have listened, if they would have remembered or thought about it, if they would have had a grenade and just rolled it on the ground, like the captain did in the Clone Wars.
Yeah, we saw that, and I think
animated.
Right, and I think those their shields were a little weaker, because in the animated and stuff like that, in the Clone War animated show, they could eventually shoot at them and the shields would fail. These things we saw here, their shields weren't failing for anything, right? We even saw Din bring out the dark saber, and the dark saber wasn't even affected. It would just kind of bounce right off, it seemed like, right?
Yeah. It looks like he was having better luck wielding it this time.
A little bit, yeah. Didn't seem like it was as heavy to him, so he had learned some stuff about it.
He had learned to ignore it and channel it for his enemy.
Right, exactly. And they kind of let the mods in Kuristan flee, and Fett and Dejarian go directly to the Sportniks and start attacking them directly. And like I said, they don't have any luck. They gain attention of one of them, and the other one goes and starts to track down the mods in Kuristan who'd already fled. And we see.
I thought at one point they were going to have them turn on each other and shoot at each other.
That would have been a good little thing to kind of trick them so they shoot at each other, but it didn't happen, did it? It would have been nice. Right. So as they're attacking one of the droids, we see Pelimato drive by in a droid-driven cart, and she says, "Hey, Mando, I've got something to show you." And she's
the best times. She shows up in the worst times, and it's almost.
Yeah, and Mando's like, "Hey, you need to go hide. We're in the middle of a battle here."
Get out of here.
Yeah, and she finally realizes it, and he gets on the back of the cart for a little while, and she shows him Grogu's there.
What'd you bring him out here for?
Yeah, he's like, "Why'd you do that? We're in the middle of a fight."
Then they had a moment.
Had a little moment. Grogu jumps up on him and
touches his helmet like in the last episode where he had taken off his helmet.
I almost thought that's what he was trying to get him to do, is take off his helmet.
Yeah.
But he didn't. And we also. That's not the way. We also get a flash to the mods and the Freetown people are holed up in the ruins of a house. It's kind of like like a porch area of a house with some concrete looking walls or whatever around it.
That's one hell of a wall.
Yeah, taking those shots like crazy.
Yeah, it's like, what the hell?
Yeah, and we see we flash back to Grogu and Din Djarin and Fett and all those attacking the droid, and we kind of skipped over the part where Fett left earlier. He told them that he had to go do something while everybody was fleeing, and he shows back up riding the Rancor.
That was cool.
Yeah, that was pretty nice little. That was pretty cool.
Comes over the wall.
I was hoping we'd get to see that, but that was pretty.
You could see the saddle and the stirrups. That was so cool.
Yeah, it was pretty neat, and he had pretty good control
to the nose ring.
Exactly, the chains were through the nose ring, and he had some pretty good luck with the Rancor. At least, there was a little bit of trouble. The droid was shooting and scratching at the Rancor a little bit, and which just made the Rancor matter, and the Rancor went after it.
Chrysanthemum got his knuckles out, his electric knuckles, and the Rancor was on top with his claw, and the pressure, you could see the shield turn red in both places and push them down. So pressure was what because he couldn't, because I think because a droid couldn't supply equal power in two places.
Right, and then we also see at the same time, Mando brings out the Darksaber again and starts attacking the same droid. And
he jumps on it, and he doesn't he do one of them in the eye, and the Rancor does his thumb in the eye too.
Through the eye, yeah. It says he makes it on.
Oh no! They chops a leg off with the Darksaber. And the Rancor uses his claw in the eye. That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of like you were saying. The shield was kind of getting red, and it kind of stayed red for a while after they had been attacking it. And that's at the time when Mando figured out he could go inside the shield if he just ran into it. And he went in and sliced off one of the arms, like you said, and the Rancor was able to attack it, and put his finger through one of them. Grogu got involved with one of them because it almost got to Mando, and Grogu stopped and got him, and he was able to break off one of the legs, the bolts on one of the legs, and one of the bolts
so cool.
flies off and hits Grogu, right?
It's a oh.
He falls down and rolls. Yeah.
Are you okay?
And because Grogu had done that, the Rancor was able to attack that droid and put it out of commission. Basically, it tore off another leg and basically crushed it and threw it against the building, and it blew up. Right?
Yeah, and then Bobo get thrown off.
Oh, that's when he's attacking the second one. And when after this, he goes and Fett and the Rancor go where the other droid's at.
Okay, yeah.
And that's when it happens, and they finally get the other droid, basically disabled or whatever, and he falls off during the battle, and the Rancor is kind of roaming around on its own now.
Yeah.
Let's see, and they arrived, rescue the others, blah blah blah. We see Peli and the Freetown people in the garrison now fighting off the rest of the Pikes, and then Cad Bane shows up again, and Bane scares off the Rancor with his flamethrower, right?
Yeah.
And Fett lets the others escape, and him and Bane have a final showdown. This is where we see, Bane kind of
Get the upper hand.
Yeah, we kind of see an upper hand, and then Fett gets kind of weak. He kind of teases him about going back to tank or whatever. And we hear him talk about, because these guys have had a relationship in the past.
Oh yeah.
We've never really seen it except in the animated series. A young Fett meets Cad Bane, and
yeah,
like you said before, Cad becomes his mentor or whatever.
Brought you up in here in this business.
Yeah, that's what he says. Want to abandon the city. Yeah, so Fett says he's not giving up because he's not abandoning the people in the city. Bane mentions the Tuscans again, and that kind of brings Fett out of his weakened state to, fight back some more. Bane rips off Fett's helmet, and as he's getting ready to shoot Fett,
when he's on the ground, the first time I realized that his
Godfrey
weapon,
stick,
was there.
Yeah, I saw it the whole time. It's you can't really notice it because he's got so much stuff on already. It's hard to see. But I noticed it too before that, and he whips that thing out and knocks the gun out of Bane's hand, and they scuffle a little bit more, and Fett ends up stabbing him in the heart with the weapon, the Godfrey stick, Gadderfer stick, something.
Yet then you look at Bane, and while he was getting stabbed, the red light on his chest plate went from solid to beeping, and you could hear beeping, flashing and beeping. And this was mentioned on one of the things I saw on the internet, that nobody ever dies in Disney. And that
I don't know about
that that maybe that flashing and beeping was a distress signal because Bane traveled in a ship and had his droid robot friend named Toto. So maybe Toto's in the back scenes and going to rescue Bane. We might see Bane again.
I don't know because I seem to remember in the animated series where that Toto droid got destroyed. There was a battle or whatever, and it got destroyed. But I mean, you could be right. I kind of think so. Bane's got those tubes going into his neck or whatever. Those are to help him breathe and stuff like that, and whatever. So I wonder if those control that, and it was beeping because he wasn't alive anymore, so he didn't have it wasn't working properly, or it was like a warning signal that hey, the lungs aren't working, danger. Could be anything, right? Could be alive still.
Yeah.
We don't know. All right, so and then we flash back to the Rancor is terrorizing the city and damaging buildings, and the mod people are shooting at him to get him to stop and all that. So and they stand down and let the Rancor kind of go, and he tears up a tower and gets down on the ground and is kind of doing the yelling and screaming at everybody, and we see Grogu again kind of tame the Rancor and get him to go to sleep or something. And he gets him to go down and sleep. We also missed a scene there where Mando got on the top of the Rancor, tried to ride him, and the Rancor threw him off. And he tries to bite Mando's head off, but he can't bite through the Beskar armor. We missed that part. But and once that's done, pretty much they've won the battle. All of the pikes have retreated. The droids are gone. The Cad's dead, we think, and so they're pretty much have defeated and run out the pikes. And we see the next scene is when they're tying up loose ends, is what it's called, and they're in the desert. We see them in the Desert Survey office. The syndicate guy is talking to the mayor, and they're talking about how they promised him to have hospitable Tatooine, and they're saying that they're leaving because it's not worth their time to keep up the battle, and they're gonna break their contract with the mayor. And all of a sudden we see from above people start getting shot inside that building. The mayor tries to run out and gets hung by someone, and then all of a sudden we see Fennec Shand jump down from above, and she attacks the leader of this Pike Syndicate and kills him
from behind.
Yeah, stabs him, I think is what I saw.
Yeah.
And kills him. And then we jump back to our team, and Fett talks about, or we see them walking through the town afterwards, and people are bowing to him and thanking him, and how you doing, kind of thing. And Fett starts to complain about his arm, trying to wave his arm and stuff because he got injured, of course. And he states that someone else is using his back to tank. Because Shan wants him to go take a soak in there to get better, and he's like, someone else is using it.
Using my back to tank.
And we see a group of people gathering, and one of the townspeople gives Fett what they call a Millurin fruit, and then all of a sudden, the mods show up, and Black Wookiee shows up, Kuristan, and he throws the fruit at chrysanthemum, yeah, whatever. and they all kind of, we have a fancy everything is great moment there at the end.
Yeah. We are family.
Yeah, basically they could have played that song, but they didn't. It would have been perfect. And then they cut to a scene where we see the Mando in his Street Fighter out in space, right? Leaving.
Yeah.
With Grogu up in the little dome thing on the back. And Grogu's tapping on the glass with his ball bearing that Mando gave him earlier. And Djarin responds with, "No, you can't, not right now.
No.
And
like this, but.
Yeah, Grogu keeps
time.
One more time, and he switches on the not the hyperdrive, but the sublight drive, and shoots out at high speed. And
we hear this is the second time we hear Grogu speak. The first time was when they landed with R2, and he whimpered or something, or smiled at what's her name?
Yep.
Maggie.
Yeah, we hear him squeal in excitement when they accelerate. Exactly. And so we see that, and then the credits run, and if you stayed in the credits for a while, there was a scene where we see someone in the back to tank, and it looks like it's the Marshal. He's in the back to tank, and then we see the mod guy that did up Finnick. We see him there. He lights his little his laser torch, whatever. And,
he's ready to take that arm off or something.
Yeah, to help him out, fix whatever needs to be fixed, right? And that's the end.
Because they have the technology.
Yeah, we have the technology. Just like the $6 million
man.
Yeah, exactly. We have the technology.
That's awesome.
All right, so that's the whole episode there. That's it was quite a bit.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I enjoyed it. I don't see what the internet was bitching about.
I don't either. I don't either. And I talked with some of those people, and I actually probably told one of them that he was an idiot, I think, on there.
Yeah. I just said, I think I posted like 3 different places. I said, y'all, they made this whole 7-part series to explain about Bobo, plus introduce relationships that are going to continue in Mando. I don't think we're going to see another Bobo season, because it's going to be all in Mando from now on.
Yeah, this is just a spin-off from it. And that's why we saw a couple episodes that was almost all exclusively Mando.
So you think that, or you think there's going to be another Bobo?
I don't know. It really depends. The only reason they would do it is if they thought it was popular enough. They might do another season. But I think originally everything I read said that this was going to be a one-off series, basically. That
I think they did what they wanted, and they got the reaction they wanted out of it.
Yeah, I do too. And I think a lot of the people that were complaining online were more, casual watchers or just critics in general that really didn't care about the mythology and all that stuff that we got to see a lot of,
Or strict canon. Or they want
connect a lot of
strict canon.
dots. Right, and it all was. I mean, now that it's been in this show, it's all canon that we saw.
Yeah.
And we got a lot of connections to the movies in here that people didn't realize. We talked about them previously. There's a lot of connections that were made that solve some things that were left kind of unknown.
That speeder was in there again.
Yeah.
In this last episode, it got blown up.
Speeder. It got blown up. It got turned upside down and thrown around a little bit, didn't it?
Yeah.
What was it? It was the
was it a Domo?
No, it was the Rancor picked it up and threw it or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it was a Domo speeder.
It's possibly, yeah. Could be. Yeah, so I mean that brings up, our question of the week. And that ties into what we're talking about. So the question of the week is who do you think from the Book of Boba Fett will appear in The Mandalorian season 3? And I listed a bunch of people, and this.
So I have a thought about Fennec and Chrysanthemum. I think Bobo's done hunting.
I do too.
I think Bobo within the Mandalorian's gonna run Fennec and Chrysanthemum as his bounty hunters.
It could be. I mean, right. So, they're enforcers, whatever you want to call them, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mercenaries, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Do you
I think
Fennec's gonna stand by.
I think she's going to get bored. I think she's going to get bored.
That's
honestly.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. I think you're right. I think Boba Fett is gonna. He's basically retiring as the crime lord over Mos Espa. He's gonna.
Yeah.
That's gonna be all he's gonna do now. I think she's gonna get bored. And maybe you're right. Maybe the Black Wookiee's gonna be bored too. I don't know.
Well, then you gotta think the Black Wookiee's older too.
Yeah, he is. He's older. Because he's been around, and Wookiees lived quite a while too. I think somewhere I saw that they live up to 300 years or something like that. But he's been around since before all the movies also. So he's been around at least 100 years at this time. So he's getting up there. So I listed a lot of people here. So I'm just going to read them off real quick for people to hear. I put, so this is who's going to appear in season 3 of The Mandalorian. I put Boba Fett, Fennec Shand, Kiristan, the Rancor. I put Peli Motto, the lady at the dock there. I put the Marshal, Ahsoka, R2-D2, and then I put C-3PO just for fun. Luke Skywalker, Grogu, the Mandalorian obviously is going to appear. And then I put the Watermonger, the mod artist guy that is doing the work.
Yeah.
Tusken Raiders, Jawas, and the mod gang, the biker scooter gang. I put all those on there because I think like Jawas and Tusken Raiders, they've been on the Mandalorian already too, even on a different planet.
Yeah.
I think we'll see them too, but that's the entire list, and this poll it's not live on our website yet, but it will be shortly after this is published.
Well, where you have Peli Motto, you're going to have Jawas because she has a thing for him.
Exactly.
The mod gang and the mod artists will be together.
Maybe.
Besides the mod artists, will hopefully they'll show the alterations to the Marshal in the Mandalorian. That would be cool.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, and this poll here, I've allowed it so you can select as many of the items as you want. So you don't have to pick one; you can just pick as many as you want. So, just for fun, So we're not really, it's not anything exciting. And I wanted to mention that some of the polls we were doing before have expired, so they're no longer available to vote on. So all we have right now is this poll, the poll where Grogu chooses the chainmail shirt or the lightsaber, which we kind of think that he chose the chainmail, but we don't know for sure yet. And
what do you mean we don't know for sure? He's wearing it.
He's wearing it, but that doesn't mean he didn't choose the lightsaber. We don't know. Because like I said, my theory is lightsaber, and he gave him the chainmail. That's my theory.
Your theory can kiss my ass.
Yeah, whatever.
He chose a chainmail.
I don't.
He's wearing.
Well, I mean, that's what we hope, but I don't think that's.
I'm from Missouri. Show me.
Yeah, exactly. Show me so I know for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think we know for sure. We see him wearing it. I think that it's very possible that he just chose the chainmail, but I also think it's possible that he chose the lightsaber. And Luke said, I understand that you need to go see the Mandalorian, but I'm gonna let you go, and here's your chainmail to go.
Come back.
Yeah. I think that could be part of it too. So who knows?
We'll leave the light on.
We'll leave the light on. Yeah. So that kind of wraps things up. Do you need to have more discussion, or do you want to?
No.
That's it.
I put you in your place.
Whatever. So, we aren't going to have a show for a couple months now. We talked about doing some other things. We've talked about maybe rewatching, the movies in chronological order and Star Wars timeline order, and kind of doing reviews on those.
What was that?
And we will do an episode probably on the history of Obi-Wan Kenobi at some point before the show starts, just to kind of refresh everybody's memory of Obi-Wan Kenobi. And of course, at the beginning of May, of course, we got the Bad Batch too, so we'll possibly be podcasting about two shows. Yeah, that's a good show. I think honestly that's one of the better of the animated cartoon shows is the Bad Batch. It's a pretty good show.
Did you see I'm trying to do that live action?
I think it would be easier to do than some of the other stuff that they've done. Because they're just soldiering kind of a lot of the time, right?
Yeah.
That would be pretty easy to do, especially since we're seeing, the Halo stuff. Halo's going into live action.
Cool. What would be cool is it bad in this time, Bad Batch comes and hangs out with Bobo's retirement home.
The Bad Batch could be. We've seen in like the Star Wars Rebels where Cody and those guys, Rex and those guys are pretty old at that time. Remember, they're all retired on their little ATV looking vehicle.
Yeah.
But
they're hiding from. They wasn't where they were hiding from. They were hiding from something.
Well, they all have the chip removed.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, this is going back to the previous episode when the cantina got blown up. Didn't see the blue guy.
No, we didn't. Rebo,
Yeah.
we didn't see
It
him.
was his day off. I saw a whole discussion on that on the internet. Which
I saw some of it too, which, I mean,
which
we
means
saw all
you'll
the
be
other
back.
musicians. We hope
Yeah.
so, yeah. I hope so. I hope so too. He's been in a lot of different scenes in the Star Wars shows and movies.
Mhm.
Okay. Let's run the outro then. What do you think?
10-4.
Thank you for listening to the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room podcast. Please visit our website where you can play current and past episodes. That's https://RABR KyleJohansson.us. That's RABR.KyleJohansen.us. On the left-hand side is a navigation menu. You can use this to learn how to load the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room podcast on your Android or Apple phone and tablet. And we have direct links to our podcast on Apple and Google Podcasts. Please participate by connecting to our social media, answering questions of the week, or submitting feedback directly from the site. Again, all of these are available at the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room website at RABR.KyleJohansen.us. This podcast in no way is approved, sponsored, or owned by Lucasfilms Ltd., Disney, Disney Plus, or any of its subsidiaries. All opinions are solely owned by Kyle and or Scott, and in no way express the views or opinions of their past or present employers. Views and opinions are not supported or restricted by Lucasfilms Ltd., Disney, Disney Plus, or any of its subsidiaries. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or other use of this podcast and its affiliate sites without consent of Super Duper Podcast Network and its host is prohibited. I am Kyle Johansson, and this is Andrew Scott Sutton. Say goodbye now.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
Hey, you have to tell everybody the name of the doggy that's been on the screen all the time.
That is Maggie.
Yeah, Maggie.
Maggie May.
If we ever do publish this video, then people will know who Maggie is then.
She's the youngest one.
But that's all we've got today, so I'll see you later.
All right. Have fun editing.
Oh boy.